Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 23, The Brahmana's Wives Blessed, text 33 and 34. So 33 does not have a purport, so we will read the verse and the translation and we will read 34 together. Shravanad dharshanad dhyanan mai bhavo nukirtanat natata sannikarshena pratiyatat tato grihan. It is by hearing about me, seeing my deity form, meditating upon me and chanting my names and glories that love for me develops, not by physical proximity. Therefore, please go back to your homes. Text 34. Please repeat. Shri Shuka Uvacha Iti Uktaha Dvijapatnyaha Taha Yajñavatam Punaha Gataha Te Cha Anasuyavaha Tabihi Stribihi Satram Aparayan. Shri Shuka Uvacha Ityukta Dvijapatnyaista Yajñavatang Punargataha Te Chanasuyavastabhi Stribhi Satramaparayan. Shri Shuka Uvacha Ityukta Dvijapatnyaista Yajñavatang Punargataha Te Chanasuyavastabhi Stribhi Satram Aparayan. Shri Shuka Uvacha Ityukta Dvijapatnyaista Yajñavatang Punargataha Te Chanasuyavastabhi Stribhi Satramaparayan. Yajñavatang Punargataha Te Chanasuyavastabhi Stribhi Satram Aparayan. Shri Shuka Uvacha. Just one, someone is reciting always Uvacha, it's actually Uvacha. There is, you can see the next line. Patnyaista Uvacha. So it's Uvacha, not Uvacha. Yeah, please continue. Shri Shuka Uvacha Ityukta Dvijapatnyaista Yajñavatang Punargataha Te Chanasuyavastabhi Stribhi Satramaparayan. Anyone else? Shri Shuka Uvacha Ityukta Dvijapatnyaista Yajñavatang Punargataha te chanasuya vastabhi stribhi satramaparayan. Mataji's. Te chanasuya vastabhi stribhi satramaparayan. Shri Shuka Uvacha. Shri Shukadeva Goswami said, Iti, with these words, Uktaha, spoken to, Dvijapatnyaha, the wives of the Brahmanas, Taha, they, Yajnavatam, to the place of sacrifice, Punaha, again, Gataha, went, Te, they, their husbands, Cha, and Anasuyavaha, not inimical, Tabihi, together with them, Stribihi, their wives, Satram, the sacrificial performance, Aparayan, they completed. Translation and commentary by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of his translation. Srila Shukadeva Goswami said, thus instructed, the wives of the Brahmanas returned to the place of sacrifice. The Brahmanas did not find any fault with their wives, and together with them, they finished the sacrifice. Purport. The wives of the Brahmanas obeyed Lord Krishna's order and returned to the sacrificial arena of their husbands, whereas the gopis, although ordered by Krishna to go home, remained in the forest to dance with him through the full moon night. Both the gopis and the Brahmanas' wives achieved pure love of Godhead. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivikas Swaminati Namine. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminati Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Shri Shuka Uvacha Ityukta Dvijapatnyaista Yajnavatam Punargataha Te Chanasuya Vastabhi Stribi Satramavarayan. Srila Shukadeva Goswami said, thus instructed the wives of the Brahmanas returned to the place of sacrifice. The Brahmanas did not find any fault with their wives, and together with them they finished the sacrifice. So, we just see the previous verse, text number 33. Krishna is giving a very profound instruction. He says, Shravanad, Dharshanad, Dhyanan, Mai Bhavo Nukirtanat. Natata Sannikarshena Pratiyata Tato Grihan. So it is by hearing about me, seeing my deity form, meditating upon me and chanting my names and glories that love for me develops, not by physical proximity. Therefore, please go back to your homes. So a very specific instruction Krishna gives here to the wives of the Brahmanas. He was actually very pleased with them, but he gives a specific instruction that you continue your hearing, your absorption in me, your chanting of my glories. You continue like this, you will attain your desired goal. You will be able to achieve. So it was difficult for them to accept it, but they did accept. They accepted and then they went back home. And also, we saw in the previous verses, Krishna explains that don't worry, your relatives, your husband, they will not be inimical to you. Everything will be all right. So Krishna gave that assurance as well. So Kavi Karnapura in the Ananda Vrindavan Champu also gives a summary of this incident. So Krishna, he points out, I'll just read few things. After hearing the pleasing prayers of the Yajna Patnis, Krishna said, listen attentively as I fill your ears with the truth. Such stubborn behavior does not befit you. You should understand that a self-controlled person who surrenders to the scriptures and hears about me, chants my name and glories, and meditates on my form, can very easily bring me under his control. Such perfection is not achieved by physical proximity to me. O upholders of truth, please therefore return to your homes and meditate on me. By this practice, you will get free from material bondage and attain me, the friend and Lord of all creation. So Krishna instructs them that you continue this process. Now you have some responsibilities and duties to do. You go back. Yeah, well, we will see in the later chapters a similar instruction Krishna gives to the gopis. But gopis did not go back, they stayed back. Krishna wanted that as well. When we see the commentaries of the acharyas, they are pointing out, although it appears externally, Krishna is asking them to go, but actually Krishna wanted them to stay back. He is actually increasing the intensity of their devotion or love in service to the Lord. So again, continuing here to read from the Ananda Vrindavan Champu. Actually, in this birth, as the wives of the Brahmanas, it will not be beneficial for you to physically associate with me, a member of the Vaishya community. It will be better for you to think of me within your minds. I will also think of you and firmly embrace you there. Please go home and do not be in anxiety about your relatives. Do not worry. Krishna is very expert. You can see how he can convince, he can explain in such a way that the wives of the Brahmanas, although they were at the beginning very much displeased, after Krishna spoke these words, they, being very obedient and then being very submissive and very humble, they accepted the words of Krishna and then they went back. And Krishna very expertly, he spoke, by his speech, he was able to instill confidence in their hearts to continue what he is asking them to do. And he says, do not worry, your husbands will not be inimical toward you. That's the exact thing we are seeing in today's verse. Indeed, your husbands, children, relatives are dear to you because I am residing within them in my expanded form as the Paramatma. One who has been rejected by me will be envious of a person who has offered his heart to me, the form of the absolute truth. It's also quite instructive for us. Every one of us are in different situation. Sometimes it's not that, someone takes to devotional service and everyone in the family or the friends or the relatives immediately welcomes them and then glorifies them. Many times we see the opposite is happening. When someone starts to chant Hare Krishna, the husband becomes inimical or he just cannot tolerate that. Or the relatives, they say, what happened to you? You have become half mad. You are not normal. So all these things we hear. But we have a social role to play. We may be a wife, we may be a husband, we may be a son, we may be a daughter. So we have our responsibilities in this material world. And we need to learn how to do it in such a way that we continue to practice devotional service, at the same time be in our social position and then render whatever that we need to do. So in that way, that is expected specifically for the householders. They cannot just shrug off their responsibilities and then say that I'm transcendental. You cannot do that. Yes, we need to be on the transcendental path. At the same time, engage others, our relatives or friends, specifically whatever position we are in, we have to do that role. That's an important thing to understand as well. And otherwise, if we improperly understand, if we don't understand the prescriptions of the devotional service in proper perspective, we will only create the whole atmosphere will only be chaotic. There will be a lot of fights, there will be a lot of confusions. So it needs guidance, it needs experience, under the guidance of experienced devotees, we should know how to handle. So that's a big topic in itself. So, but definitely that's a take home for us from this incident also, that it requires quite a broad-mindedness how to be in our social position and also engage in devotional service. So Lagu Chetasam, we should not be narrow-minded. We should be Udhara Charitam, Vasudhaiva Kutumpakam. They just said that, So Udhara Charita means one should be broad-minded, and then in whatever responsibility one is, should, maybe certain things you may have to tolerate, and then you have to encourage. You have to personally keep yourself in good spirit in practicing devotional service, chanting, reading, hearing, and also doing your household activities. So that's one thing. And when we don't understand that, then we become very much self-oriented, then the whole situation becomes very chaotic, and there is a lot of misunderstanding, confusion. Of course, there is, on a case-to-case basis, things differ. It's not that everything is, we can just give one standard rule for every situation. But the principles are there. One has to chant the names of Krishna, one has to engage in devotional service, one has to render service to the spiritual master, to the Vaishnavas. At the same time, simultaneously, Srila Prabhupada has given so many instructions how one has to take care of the family, children, household responsibilities. So it's an art. It's an art to be learned. So here we see here the wives of the Brahmanas very submissively they accepted, and they went back. They joined their husband in the sacrifice, and it was successfully completed. So specifically in this verse, the potent Krishna himself is emphasizing in verse 33 the potent form of devotional service, how just by hearing about the Lord, by coming and then showing ourselves to the Lord, seeing the beautiful form of the Lord and meditating upon Him. So these are the words that are used exactly. Shravanad, Darshanad, Dhyanan, meditating. Mai Bhavo, Anukirtanad. So Anukirtanad is chanting His glories, chanting about His names, His qualities. It could be chanting the holy names. It could also mean Kirtana means either way, both the things. Not only you sing about the Lord's name, ultimately even the Bhagavatam, everything, you can see the important aspect in the worship of the deity. What is the important aspect in the worship of the deity? Chanting the names of the Lord. That is also, that's there. When you speak the Bhagavatam Katha, ultimately you establish that chanting the holy names is the sublime and the perfect process. In the association of devotees, we discuss Harikatha, and also we together glorify Krishna by chanting His names. And so in all the process, the chanting the names of the Lord is there. And as we said that Kirtan also means also glorifying the Lord. Studying, it's there in the Nectar of Devotion, which speaks about hearing from the Bhagavatam, hearing the association of the devotees. It's a very powerful and potent process. So when Srila Rupa Goswami discusses about the 64 aspects of devotional service, so he gives, coming to the temple, offering obeisances, smelling the flowers offered to the Lord, seeing the form of the Lord, meditating on the Lord. So many instructions are given. Honoring the prasadam that is offered to the Lord. And out of that, the 5 potent process, Krishna is mentioning here, that hearing about the Lord, seeing the beautiful form of the Lord, the Archa Vigraha, and hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, honoring prasadam, staying in the holy place like Mathura, or in the association of devotees. Wherever the devotees are there, that becomes holy place. As in the last 2-3 days we were hearing how Srila Prabhupada left Vrindavan, and then he went to the Paschatya Desh, he went to the west. It's a place where there is hardly any culture of Vedic culture, but he created Vrindavan wherever he went. He gave them the holy name, he gave them the Srimad Bhagavatam, he gave them how to install deities, how to worship the deities. He created the association of devotees so that we can come together, sing and glorify Krishna, hear about Krishna. It's amazing what Srila Prabhupada did it's just mind-blowing. We cannot imagine what he has done. So leaving Vrindavan, I think Srila Prabhupada was in France, he was walking in Paris. Though for those who have been to Paris, once before Some years back, before I went to Paris, one of our God brother Nityanand Prabhu, he said that when you are in the Paris city, he said you can smell sinful activities, like that he told me. So actually when I went there, I just realized that it was not the best place to be there. So anyway, so we were in the city. Prabhupada once was walking in the city, and then after the walk, he went out of the city. No, he went near the countryside. Immediately, Srila Prabhupada remembered about Vrindavan. The Prabhupada many times used to say, although I am in some other different place, I never left Vrindavan. Or he was always conscious that he was always with his spiritual master. He never felt that he is not without his guru. That was his consciousness. His consciousness was completely elevated, completely fixed in Vrindavan consciousness. Now, Srila Prabhupada, being so potent and so powerful, he offered this to everyone who came in touch with him. So he gave this process of chanting the holy names. He installed the deities. He engaged devotees in various services. He pushed everyone to study his books, which are the books. Actually, what are the books? The Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Ishopanishad, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and all the books which are immediately helping us to remember Krishna. So the greatest, as Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say, what is the scarcity that we have in this world? The real scarcity is Krishna consciousness, forgetfulness of Krishna. That is a real problem. And in fact, that is the main problem. From that, all other problems, it is just created from that, by the forgetfulness of Krishna. So this potent process of chanting the holy names, hearing the Bhagavatam in the association of devotees is so powerful. The churning process has already started. Cheto dharpana marjanam. The heart is gradually getting cleansed. We will not know. We have no clue what's happening. So that's why we need to have faith in the process. And also, every one of us who are practicing Krishna consciousness, so many years have gone, we all know, at least on a gross level, some things we have given up. On subtle level, we have so many contaminations, but that's the kind of inspiration that we can take, that definitely the Mahamantra works, Srimad Bhagavatam works, association of devotee works. We don't have to do something new. So this work process has worked in the past, it is working now, it will work in the future also. Vita raga bhaya krodha manmaya mamupashitaha bahavo jnana tapasa putamad bhavamagata. Krishna says, raga bhaya krodha, attachment, anger, and what is that? Raga bhaya, fear. One can overcome all these things by engaging in Krishna consciousness, by engaging in the powerful process of bhakti yoga. And putamad, we will be purified. So that's what we require. We need a lot of purification. The more we absorb ourselves in the association of devotees, in chanting and hearing about Krishna, the more we are purified. We have no clue how much of dirt we have accumulated. Millions and millions of lifetimes we have been engrossed in sense gratification. Our eyes, our ears, our tongue, the sense of touch, the smell, the taste, so much of sense gratification we have experienced. So sometimes even the concept of that we are actually part and parcel of Krishna, we are pure soul, is sometimes it looks a little bewildering, but that's the fact. It's a reality. That's the reality. Our real life, our eternal life is with Krishna and his devotees. This is an illusory place. The different relations that we have here, these are all completely temporary. So we should not, yes, we have our roles to play, we have responsibilities to do, but we should not be enamored by that. That is what Srila Prabhupada is emphasizing in so many purports, in lectures. So the problem is we take this material life too serious and we are completely enamored by that. And as a result, we miss the point. What is the point? The point is Krishna consciousness. The point is chanting the holy names. The point is getting absorbed ourselves in the service of the Lord. The point is preaching this message to the conditioned souls. We need to be convinced ourselves, then we can convince others. Convince means at least we should have this much faith. As Srila Prabhupada, in the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita, he points out, at least we should have theoretical faith in what Srila Prabhupada has given in the beginning. What is said in the Bhagavad Gita, we should be convinced, theoretically convinced, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are his eternal servants. Bhakti Yoga is the perfect process. And then, on that premise, we should try to practice Krishna consciousness. And then as Krishna says, Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pratyaksha vagamam dharmyam susukam kartum abhyam. Susukam kartum abhyayam. It is a happy process. Parama karuna pahudui jana nitai gaura chandra sabhay avatar sharo shiromani kevala ananda kanda. So when we practice Krishna consciousness, sometimes it appears that, how is that it's Ananda Kanda? So much of troubles. There is a fight with wife, there is a fight with my brother, there is a fight with parents, there is a fight with relatives, friends. Yeah, these are all like passing clouds, But the reality is that we have got our relationship is established. So far we have been like orphaned. We had no idea, no clue that we belong to Krishna. We belong to his abode. We are part of his family, but we have been in a complete illusion, wandering in the material world with so many different kinds of relationships and falsely thinking those relationships to be reality. So by the knowledge given in parampara, coming from Krishna, through the parampara to the spiritual masters, we have been enlightened about these facts of life. How Krishna is Supreme Personality of God and we are his eternal servants. And by engaging in the process of devotional service, we will be thoroughly purified. And that we can see. Those who have come in touch with Krishna consciousness, we chant, we associate with devotees. Gradually we can see that at least we are able to see that, these desires are petty desires. So many material desires are popping up one after the other. And if we are trying to be Krishna conscious in the association of devotees, hearing properly, trying to chant, we can at least start to identify. Or a devotee who is advanced will immediately point out, hey, you are in Maya. And we try to work, we try to give up such kind of attachments. Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjanam. These are the two fundamental steps in the process of surrender. Whatever that is favorable to devotional service, we accept. And whatever that is unfavorable to devotional service, we reject. This is so important. If we don't do this, although we may apparently practice Krishna consciousness, but the progress will be, there will not be much progress. As Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives an example, that how that marriage party wanted to cross the river. They were on the boat, and overnight they were trying to row the boat. They were rowing, and then finally in the morning, they found they were in the same place. They didn't move an inch. Then they figured out that the anchor was stuck to the earth. So that's the point. So the devotional service in itself is so potent. But then, as we hear that here in this, Krishna is giving an advice to the wives of the Brahmanas, and they submitted themselves humbly. So this submission is the key factor for us to make progress in devotional service. Guru is giving instruction, Vaishnavas are giving instruction. So how much are we ready to take it up? How much are we ready to implement it in our lives? We should try. We should give a sincere try. That's the whole point. And it works. And that's called dependency on Krishna. The holy name works. The Bhagavatam, hearing Bhagavatam, it works. And that's how the movement spread, how the movement expanded, how so many devotees joined. Simple. Prabhupada was a very powerful, empowered personality. Wherever he went, he spoke from the Bhagavatam and the Gita. He gave his association. He encouraged devotees to chant. He asked them to give up the four sinful pillars that is an obstruction for our life. And we could see those who took it, it worked. And as we heard yesterday, that's the whole point, whole factor, right? What is the measure that we are progressing? We don't have to go to anybody. We don't need any certificate, someone to rubber stamp us. We could see how much material desires we are having in our heart. And let's not cheat others. So we know where we are. So we need to know that and identify that, and then try to. So we need to beg for mercy. We need to chant our rounds attentively. We need to try to sincerely study Srila Prabhupada's books, engage in service. In the Bhakti Siddhanta Vaibhav, there is a section on Japa and Kirtana on the volume 1. So if you try to read that, you will see what Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is speaking about, that pure spirit of service. So this is what the jiva, the living entities, we are supposed to render pure devotional service to Krishna. And when we are engaged in such service, when we are saturated with that service, we will be completely blissful. We'll be thoroughly happy. The pure devotees are in that state. And so that is the standard. So why Srila Prabhupada is speaking so much? Why he is just, he's in his purports, he's calling out, hogs, dogs, rascals, mudas. Why Prabhupada says, I'm repeating the words of Krishna. Why such strong words are used? Because we are blinded by the illusory attachment. The attachment are just binding us, and then it is pushing us to, craving us for trying to enjoy this material world. Very deep rooted. Very deep rooted. We will not know. Like when we scratch, then we will see some things. So at the surface, we will not be able to know. So when there are some situations, tempting situations come in front of us, then we will know how much we are Krishna conscious. Then we will know what is our chanting, where is our chanting. Everybody knew, we all had this period of this corona, when this corona disease was hit. We can see how many of the people, of course, of the devotees as well, became too much self-conscious. They were, it was, we could see how they were completely, at some point of time, some of them forgot about chanting, reading, hearing. Of course, because one of the great difficulties was they could not come to the temple. Of course, there were a lot of programs we had online and like that. But we could see these are the testing times. How much we are firmly fixed, how much we are eager to serve. Yesterday I was just joking with one devotee that there's Vipralamba. Vipralamba is misunderstood by some devotees. Vipralamba means they are thinking that let me be away from the association of devotees. Let me be away from temple. In separation I will do service. Let us see how many of them are so advanced. So we should actually crave for association. We should find any opportunity. Kim karomi, what can I do for Krishna? How do I do? What do I do? Please engage me in service. Because this is the only thing that's going to purify us. Nothing else is going to purify us. So as we heard yesterday, we are not on the level of Namacharya, Haridas Thakur or in the Babaji stage where we can just sit and chant the holy names. Very difficult for us. But still the process is so powerful. Step by step. Step by step we can, like Vaisheshika Prabhu used to say, page by page become a sage. So like that, step by step, take steps. Think about it. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he speaks that every Ekadasi, do little introspection. Where am I? What did I do? Last 2 weeks, what I did? So, yeah, these things will help us. So when we are in the association of devotees, chanting, because this process is so powerful. So there is a saying in Tamil, like that you have butter in your hand and you are searching for ghee somewhere. So like that we have a very powerful process. Srila Prabhupada, the purest devotee in this entire universe, he has given us this. We have his sincere representatives who are just, even now, we are fortunate enough, they are walking around. So we can take their association. We have such amazing purpose by Srila Prabhupada in his books. And he has given us such a process. He has engaged us in distributing his books. So we have so many opportunities to be away from Maya. But if we put a shutter to ourselves, then we are the losers. So there is one amazing conversation in which Srila Prabhupada, he speaks that the person who is interviewing Srila Prabhupada, he's asking him, just a second. Yeah. So the interviewer is kind of asking Srila Prabhupada, why you guys are going out in the streets? Why you have to preach? What is the need? And Srila Prabhupada, very amazing. I'm just looking for the question where it is. Yeah, he says, one of the things that strikes us a very important point that you can, I'm sure, clarify. Why is it that the Krishna movement goes to the public in the form of street chants? And why do you not let the movement grow from the so-called conventional type of religion? Why you guys are going out? What is this? That the fellow is asking Prabhupada. And Prabhupada is amazingly responding, saying, because people are so much forgetful of Krishna or God, they are required to be reminded. This Hare Krishna movement is transcendental vibration. If we chant on the street or loudly, whoever hears this sound, he becomes purified, cleansed of the dirty things from his heart. And therefore, we go and chant so that others may hear and cleanse their heart. Well, what I'm saying, your divine grace, is that when you do chant and when you do have your disciples and students on the street approaching the person that knows nothing about the movement, you are criticized. So some of them during the time also, why you are there, they are forcing, they are pushing the books. So Prabhupada says, they may criticize, everything new is criticized. But as we have seen, all these American boys, European boys, they have come to me. In the beginning, they also criticized. But by hearing again and again, they have become my disciples. So this is the whole point. Hearing again and again. Yes, you have many disciples and we understand by and large those that are disciples that have graduated from studenthood and by and large a young generation, yours truly and many others in middle age are not perhaps as much as attracted. So the conversation goes on. So Prabhupada says that, yes, many youngsters, they came. So yes, they also were beginning, some of them were criticizing, but they came and sat and heard and they became devotees. So hearing is a very key process. So that's what Krishna is stressing here. So the Lord here is pushing the wives of the Brahmanas, go back and then you hear. Yet another lecture Srila Prabhupada is speaking about, because in this also there is a advice Krishna gives that you hear my glories, you meditate on me, you chant and you absorb on looking at my form. In another lecture from Kapila's section, Srila Prabhupada in his purport and in his lecture, he explains an amazing point. So he says, the process of meditating on the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within oneself and the process of chanting the glories or pastimes of the Lord are the same. There is no difference. This is called Advaya Jnana, no difference, absolute. Either you chant, hear, or you try to see within your heart the Supreme Lord, the same thing. The only difference is that hearing and fixing the mind on the pastimes of the Lord is easier than visualizing the form of the Lord within one's heart. Because as soon as one begins to think of the Lord, especially in this age, the mind becomes disturbed. And due to so much agitation, the process of seeing the Lord within the mind is interrupted. So Prabhupada says that meditation is difficult because in the Kali, the mind is so much disturbed. Suppose, he gives a nice example. He says, suppose one is a big businessman. He is always thinking of his business, how to sell this, how to purchase this. His mind is absorbed with these things. So if he sits down to meditate upon the Lord, it will not be possible. It will not be possible. His mind will be disturbed and he will think of his business transactions. So that is natural. But if you chant Hare Krishna loudly, you will be forced to hear Krishna. And that Krishna immediately comes within your mind by force. So it is better process than sit down and think of Krishna. When there is sound vibrated, passing the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, however one is forced to hear, that hearing process enters into the mind and the practice of yoga is automatically performed. For example, even a child can hear and derive the benefit of meditating on the pastimes of the Lord simply. Now just like these children, they do not understand English, they do not understand language, but when there will be chanting, they will stand up and dance. See how this process is easy. Another place Srila Prabhupada says that, I think he's speaking to Yamuna Mataji, one place, he says that the songs of the Vaishnava Acharyas, he says that these are like thunderbolt, and there is a sound of the thunderbolt. You may not know everybody knows that, thunderbolt is so heavy and the sound is, immediately understand what is this. So he says that similarly the songs of the Vaishnava Acharyas, these are very powerful. These are words written, the Srimad Bhagavatam in condensed form, the Acharyas have written with beautiful poetic verses, they have written the songs, they have composed these songs. So whomsoever sings sincerely these songs, so there is so much purity. Krishna is very pleased, the heart will become purified. And of course, it's very good to know the meaning of the songs as well, because then the Sambandha Jnana, and also that becomes very nicely established, and also the dependency on Krishna, being that we are very much insignificant, that comes to the limelight. The other way is actually, the problem with us is we are too much concerned about ourselves, that we are thinking that we are the center of this universe. But when we get the proper Sambandha Jnana, then we understand that how insignificant we are. Just His Holiness Bhaktivinoda Swami Maharaj often used to say this point, that you come out on the, maybe in the village it's more easy, on the Amavasya day, on the open field, you come out and then look above, and then you see so many stars. And then you can think that how many thousands and thousands of planets are there. So many universes are there. And we are in one corner of the universe, in one small tiny, how tiny we are. And then we can understand that how much we require Krishna's help, how much we have to be dependent on Krishna. So this is the power of bhakti. So Srila Prabhupada continues, he speaks that there is no question of language understanding, no question of being young or child. Anyone who will hear the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, he'll be enthused immediately, and that is natural. Unless he's covered with sinful activities very much, he'll be enthused. Cheto dharpana marjana. But even if he's covered with sinful activities, by chanting immediately, the process of cleansing begins. Shrinvatam swakata Krishna, punya shravana kirtana. Simply by hearing and chanting, he becomes pious. And the more he becomes pious, he understands what is God, what is Krishna. Without being pious, nobody can understand God. So that's the whole point. No? So by the process of devotional service, more and more we're getting purified. Because the more and more we get purified, the more and more we become determined to serve Krishna. Esham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dhandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrataha. One becomes dridhavrata, firmly fixed. So right now why it's not there? Because so many anarthas are giving a stumbling block. But nevertheless, we take shelter of the Lord. We shall take shelter of the process that is given by Krishna. And it works. It does miracles actually. So all that we need to do is we need to have faith in the process and continue in the association of devotees. And then more we get realization, the more we go out, preach, meet people, we see how people are suffering and we try to help others, then we will also be getting the mercy of the Lord. So that's the whole point. So I'll just stop here. If you have any questions or comments or any realizations, anything to add? Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam